Alrighty, before I go on to writing my first body paragraph, I have a little review of what my assertion should look like. Remember, this is my topic sentence for the paragraph. So I'm just going to add to the one we talked about in class, which is filmmaker emphasizes the negative consequences of automation by using long shots in order to craft a warning about our dependency on machines. So I have my actor is right here. This part is the strategy I'm going to talk about, and this part is where I talk about the purpose. I don't explicitly say it the same way I did up here, but I'm still have this idea of warning about over-reliance on machines, okay? So my first idea I talked about was the medicine dispenser. The first time in the video that these, I said negative already, so these detrimental consequences appear is when Alice attempts to get medicine from an automatic, I'm going to put that in there so I keep going back to the main idea, right? From an automatic dispenser. When the machine fails, she looks around and a long shot is used to show only white space. Oops. Okay, so that's pretty much my evidence for the first one. Now I'm going to explain it. The excess of white space around her revealed by the long shot shows that she is alone with nothing but the automated machine. Okay, there I'm just kind of paraphrasing what the evidence is showing. Okay, now I'm going to link to the specific strategy. This emphasizes filmmakers' argument by showing, by creating a memorable image of Alice all alone when she needs help. In turn, this warns against being dependent on machines by pointing out how machines can fail. There we go. So based on what I have right now, this is my evidence, right? And then if we're going into our analysis checklist, this is my paraphrasing or a little bit more contextual information to explain. Then I talk about emphasis, which is my strategy, right, for this paragraph. But then I also connect to the purpose, which again, I'm talking about how the author is warning against being overly dependent on machines. Now I'm going to move on to my second point. Similarly, Alice is helpless when her work computer tells her she is fired. Again, the filmmaker uses a long shot showing her all alone once again. Okay, so there's my evidence, and I kind of paraphrased how that relates to the long shot and what the image looks like. So there's my context, I guess. Now I'm going to point out how this is an example of emphasis. This final, I already said this. Okay. As the final frame of the video, this also emphasizes how when Alice is given upsetting news, she is still alone. By using a long shot again, recognize that machines have made Alice, what's the word? Not unuseful. It's made her unnecessary. And it's made her unnecessary, cautioning the viewer against allowing the same to happen to them. All right, it's a little bit of a wordy sentence, but cautioning again is just a paraphrase for warning, which is my overall purpose. Here I have how this is an example of emphasis, and then I explain how does that particular frame, how does that use of emphasis support the overall purpose. And I'm just going to end with an overall statement. These two examples of long shot in the short video emphasize, I'm using emphasize a lot, I'm going to say instead reinforce the consequences to a society built solely on machines. So there again, I'm just talking about those consequences again and wrapping up. I'm also effectively taking both examples and ending my paragraph with a concise statement about them. Now, in writing this, I would go back and revise, look for my sentence variety and things like that, but that's what my drafting of it would look like. So just to review what a paragraph will look like, you start with your assertion, which is what I have right here. Introduce evidence, which is what I do right here, and I think it kind of goes, these two sentences work together to describe what's happening. Then you do your analysis, which you might need to explain the evidence, which we've talked about with rhetorical analysis before. Then I'm going to link to strategy or the paragraph. And then I'm going to link to purpose. Then I'm going to repeat this process, do it all over again. And then I'm going to conclude with, I'm going to say a conclusion sentence, which restates connection, purpose. Okay, so if I was to pick those things out, let's do a color code here. My assertion is this piece. My first example goes all the way from here down to here, and in it you can see an example of each of these steps, from the evidence to the explanation of the evidence to the link to the strategy, which in this case is emphasis, then the link to purpose. Then I have my second set, which follows the same format, and then I end with my concluding statement.